I didn't watch the 2016 Oscars, and that wasn't to protest the lack of diversity at the Academy Awards. That was just because I was just too busy. And I spent the entire weekend drawing up concept art for a portfolio that I was working on, and I just didn't have the time to spend wasting it watching some silly award show. Many years ago, when I read Sid Field's screenplay, he said that the Academy Awards and all these award shows were nothing more than a popularity contest, and that this award has no value in the long run. And if you read Bruce Campbell's If Chins Could Kill, he pretty much reinforces the point by saying that, none of this fame and popularity has any value. When it all boils down to, at the end of the day, it's about how many jobs you get and if you're working. Because in the entertainment business, it's all about the work you get. There are many Academy Award winners who go on to win an Oscar and then never work again in their life. Some of them even have to put their own awards in the pawn shop because they have not worked in years. And you can pretty much, go down the list and look at their backgrounds and see where many people's Academy Awards, prevented them from ever working again. And you look at their careers and they have pretty much stalled. So the value of an Academy Award at the end of the day is zero. It's about how many jobs you get. I mean, I look at a guy like Samuel L. Jackson who continuously has been working for the last 25 years, and that's a career you want to have. Or you look at a guy like Bruce Campbell who continuously works for the last 20 or so years. That's a career you want to have. A career with projects that people can recognize and identify immediately. That's the type of career most people would want to have. But many of your African American actors, for the most part, and African Americans, think that this Academy Award has some sort of value. It really doesn't. If we look at, the careers of your Black Academy Award winners, like your Halle Berrys, your Louis Gossett Jr.'s, what have they been doing for the last couple of years? I mean, think about it. They haven't really done much since winning that award. The only person who's really done a lot has been Denzel Washington, but Denzel Washington was bankable before he won an Academy Award. I mean, he was a strong performer, and he didn't need the Academy Award. He has a strong career in spite of it, and that's because he goes out and grinds and works and looks for good projects. He doesn't really sit out here and look for an easy thing like saying, "Oh, I'm an Oscar winner." And I look at many other Oscar winners, who are struggling. I mean, Hilary Swank has two of them, and where's her career gone? So I don't look. I look at this Oscar and I don't see it as a thing of value. It doesn't matter. Again, it's about the jobs that a person gets. And I look at this whole Oscar controversy, and I think a lot of people don't understand, how the entertainment business works. Again, it's about the jobs you get, it's about the work you get, and it's about the last project you were in. Winning an award at the end of the day for films you made last year are not going to get you a job this year. When it comes down to the Oscars, oftentimes, when you win the Oscar, your price goes up. And yeah, you get some notoriety here and there, but if you can't really pick up any deals at the end of the day for the next job, then that Oscar has no value. And I listened to, Chris Rock's speech at the Academy Awards, and that was just pretty ridiculous. I found it sad that, he went into all these monologues and stuff talking about diversity, and he didn't say a single word, about how black people only follow one narrative when it comes down to, entertainment. And that one narrative is really, preventing real diversity. I mean, it was just sad that no one said a word about dope. No one said a word. This was a movie that was critically acclaimed at the Sundance Film Festival, and was critically acclaimed by numerous film critics. And your Chris Rock at the Academy Awards didn't say a single word about it. Your Al Sharpton has not said a single word about this film. Your Jada Pinkett never said a word about this film. Spike Lee never said a word about this film. And this was a film produced by black people, written and directed by a black man, and presenting a whole different perspective of African Americans. But none of these prominent black celebrities in Hollywood said a single word about dope. No one said a word about how this film was snubbed, and no one ever said a word about how your own NAACP, with the NAACP Image Awards, pretty much ignored this film. which pretty much told me the story that, when it comes down to diversity in black Hollywood, they don't want diversity. They want everything to follow a singular narrative. They want everything to fit in a single box. Um, that in that box, they only want to see your Negro victims. They want to see your poor, miserable, downtrodden Negroes who need a great white savior. They want to see your buck dancing, bojangling minstrels, or they want to see your prominent historical Negroes, or they want to see your black Jezebels and your black mammies, all pandering for the validation and approval of white liberals in Hollywood in the desperate hope of winning that golden statue that has about as much value as a $5 food stamp without the book. And that's what's so sad about Black Hollywood. Black Hollywood, you know, lowers its own value begging for so called diversity when all the resources and tools are out there. I look at this film, Dope, which was produced by Forrest Whitaker, Pharrell Williams, and Sean Diddy Combs, and it shows me that we can make our own films and we can make great films for ourselves, and we need to celebrate our own greatness. We need to do more dopes than still sitting up here trying to win favor and approval from a group of people who never approved of us in the first place. I mean, I look at black people in Hollywood and they remind me of the nerdy kid who's always trying to win the approval of popular people. These people don't care about you. You need to start going your own way, doing your own thing, and seeking your own approval. Because it's a shame that a great film like Dope pretty much got ignored by black people, and not a single black person talked about this film, which could have, been the starting point of an argument for diversity. This is a film that does not follow the same narrative of your liberals. This is a film that tells a very unique story. And this is the type of film that pretty much fit the criteria for what people would say would be an Academy Award winning film. But none of these black people wanted to talk about this film. And it was just a shame that, your Chris Rock, who was hosting the Oscars, didn't say a single word about this film. And then, goes on in this silly monologue, making all these cornball jokes, talking about diversity. And then the Academy, is sitting there talking about they want to do things better. Well, I look at the picture of diversity and I don't see any diversity, when it comes down to black film, black media, and black Hollywood. All I see is the same old stories again and again. And I've seen that same old story model since the late 1990s, early 2000s, when Negroes started buck dancing and bojangling and pandering to white people to get those easy Oscars. And I didn't see any sort of change in that modus operandi. All I saw was the same old, Negroes trying to protect their spot instead of trying to open it up so that we can really start to see those different stories and different pictures of black life. I didn't see that at all. I mean, all I saw was more of the same when I listened to, the Oscars online. When I was online, I listened to Chris Rock's monologue and I saw more of the same. And I look at Black Hollywood and it's just still more of the same, And yet these people are talking about they want more diversity, they want change. You have Al Sharpton, he was out here marching, doing more of the same and then still expecting change. That is the definition of insanity when you really think about it. I mean, Hollywood as I see it is just not going to change. They're not going to tell our stories. We have to go out and tell our stories on film. We have to go out and make efforts to support our films. And we have to go out and reward our best filmmakers by giving them awards. That's the only way we can see the only way we can find value in self. We have to value ourselves and value what we make and not look for others to approve of us. And this is the big problem with Afro-American Negroes when it comes down to Black Hollywood. They're all still looking for approval from outside sources instead of looking for them from internal sources. If you don't see value in your own best works to go out and support them, how can you expect others to go out and support them? And that's what's just so backwards about these Oscars and all this Oscars so white and all of this whole Oscar controversy. We have black people still begging and pleading for the slave master to give them approval. I don't do that. I wouldn't even care to do that. I mean, back when I was writing the screenplay All About Maryland, I sent it to several screenplay contests, and they tried to tell me that there were things wrong with the screenplay. That one guy told me he would cut 30 pages, and I shook all of that off and went out and published my own screenplay. And when I gave it to people, they loved the script, they loved the story, and this is people all over the world, not just black people. I've given this screenplay to white people and people of all races, and they love this screenplay. So I don't go looking for approval. When I started sending it out, I believed in it enough to say, this is where it needs to be. This is what I want it to be. And I believe that this is the very best. And more black people have to say to themselves, their work is the very best. They have to believe in it. And they have to, have the integrity to stand by it. Because that's what's going to get you diversity, is you going out, standing up for what you believe in, standing up for your work, and going out and doing what you need to do. But all most black people want to do is look for some white approval, and they really want to use the films that they star in. Black Hollywood, a lot of them want to use films like Concussion and them to win the approval of white people. And they think that having this Oscar, will increase their value with white people. But the truth of the matter is, the Oscar, in and of itself, has no real value. The Academy Award has always been a popularity contest. It is about the most popular star, and it's about, celebrating what is popular, not about, celebrating well-crafted films. Because I look at how Dope was ignored by both the Academy and the NAACP, and that pretty much told me how it is about what's more popular, and it's not about about celebrating what is best in film. This was one of the most creative films I have seen in a long time, and it's a shame that Black Hollywood and White Hollywood pretty much ignored this film. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.